So is WallStreetBets part of the alt-right? Does WallStreetBets have a problem with alt-right members? These are questions that people have been asking on social media and in mainstream media. And what we're going to do in this video today is talk about it. We're going to talk about how WallStreetBets is a very, very massive subreddit. It's also a very, very massive campaign at the moment to target Melvin Capital. So of course there's going to be loads of different members from very different political leanings. But what we're going to do today is talk about how WallStreetBets and the GameStop Stock movement is primarily not an alt-right or fascist movement, but we're also going to talk about the drama around it, and we're also going to discuss historically why fascists love this type of stuff. They love these types of campaigns sticking it to Wall Street because, of course, Wall Street is the center of many anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. It's where George Soros used to work. Of course, back in the day, the Wall Street crash happened and people already blamed Jews in Germany for losing the war. So stuff like this just vindicated their opinions about Jews making life worse for them. Then you have other stuff like Occupy Wall Street, which far-right figures also pounced upon because they think it's sticking it to the globalists and other people like that. So we're going to talk about all those things. But before you write your angry comments, I can already see them. No, I am not saying WallStreetBets and the whole movement against Melvin Capital is primarily driven by anti-Semitism and the alt-right. So I know a lot of you like to do this. Please just don't comment based on the title, and hopefully you've got it this far and you're not going to write that stupid comment. But before we go any further, edgier content on my channel is always demonetized, so if you want to support me monetarily, please check out my Patreon. Thanks so much to everyone who has already done this. At the moment, the benefits are gaining access to the private Discord server, and you'll obviously have your name featured at the end of every video and in the description. I'm working for some other benefits that will come in the future. If you want to join our growing community, please check out the Discord and the subreddit in the description. And if you want to follow me personally, check out at the Kavernacle on Instagram and Twitter. And also u/TommyCahill1995 for my personal Reddit. So with that out the way, let's get into the video. Also, I get 1 chocolate orange for every 5k subs. We need 2 more K, so I get a new one and add it to the pile. Maybe I'll change it up a bit. Maybe I'll get some more dark chocolate ones. I've primarily got white ones, which you can't buy anymore, so it makes them more exclusive. And maybe a nice reminder of my first 20. But let's get into the video. So this tweet caused quite a storm. So Hilary Sargent wrote, "Is anti-Semitism the driving force behind the GME GameStop short squeeze? Maybe not, but certainly anti-Semitism is a force that delighted in it and is pushing it as much as they can across multiple platforms." A very small portion of the relevant examples below. So on screen, here are just some screen grabs from 4chan, another one from Discord. Obviously, a lot of anti-Semitism in there, anti-Semites and far-right people celebrating this stuff. But this is 4chan, but WallStreetBets have taken offense at these comparisons, so they posted on Reddit. They're trying to say this is all done by Nazis now, putting a tweet talking about Nazis on Telegram and people who like this WallStreetBets stuff. But what I will say from my own experience, which I'm going to put in here, and I've been lurking on the sub for a couple of years now since it was a lot lower. It's nearly on 8 million members, which is crazy. But then a lot of them started talking about Gamergate and stuff. So someone wrote, "They're literally a meme at this point. Everyone they don't like is a Nazi white supremacist. This is Gamergate all over again. The establishment got caught manipulating and being in bed with one another, and now they're going after the plebs that dare expose them for being corrupt." And I wrote, I wouldn't start talking about if this sub doesn't have Nazis and then go off about Gamergate. And then someone saying Gamergate's a great reference. It started when people learned game journalists were demanding sex from female game devs for reviews before spiraling into widespread criticism of game journalism's lack of standards, and they managed to make it about internet Nazis oppressing games journalists. Is actually a great comparison to what's happening now. And then someone said, "Look, I'm sure you feel passionate about this, but you literally have 1.5k karma in the Donald. You aren't a good look, my man. Kindly lurk more." So what I will say overall is, of course, I think people who are playing the stock market a lot are more right-leaning, are more capitalist in their economic view and everything. Even though I will say there's been a lot of great posts on this talking about, sticking it back to the hedge funds and the people who gamble with the economy because of 2008. I've put some money into some GameStop stocks as well. I'm obviously not on the alt-right, you know what my politics are. I just put money in as a fuck you to these really, really rich people who like to gamble with the stock exchange and I guess it's about the message for me rather than getting a lot of profit. But yes, this is very diverse, the movement. I will say it's more right-leaning. I wouldn't say it's alt-right leaning at all. But let's get into more of the drama to highlight what I mean with broad movements like this, and then we'll get into how the far right are using stuff like this to radicalise people and the historical precedent for that. So, Kotaku reporting Discord's WallStreetBets ban wasn't a conspiracy, just a demonstration of the platform's power. And they spoke to two people who work at Discord and were familiar with the situation, talking about why they banned their Discord. And this is what started everyone saying that, WallStreetBets is an alt-right movement. So Nathan Grayson reporting, yesterday the communication platform banned WallStreetBets' server, only to bring it back from the dead, but this wasn't an act of Wall Street coordinated malice, it was just a tech platform being a tech platform. Discord released a statement chalking its actions up to hateful and discriminatory content on the part of the server's users, specifically pointing to hate speech, glorifying violence, and spreading misinformation as examples. But a lot of them smelled something fishy because of stuff like Robinhood and obviously a coordination to limit the impact of this movement. So anonymous people spoke to Kotaku, and the two sources had knowledge of Discord's inner workings and said that the messaging platform was being honest in its statement. They said, there were issues with hate speech, anti-Semitism. It was problematic and the servers had been warned multiple times. Big server standard procedure is always to warn and give a chance to correct, because it's not like the admins mods are generally doing bad content, just allowing it. Sometimes they do cooperate for a while and then they forget, don't care anymore, think that Discord has moved on. It actually happens pretty frequently, but obviously not when the world's attention is on Discord. You have thousands of people talking all day, all night, many are trolls. No small team can stay on top of all of that all the time. Now, on top of that, the community is experiencing a surge in popularity. Especially with that in mind, WallStreetBets was in a really difficult spot when it came to moderation, but while that's obviously a big challenge, we still expect big servers to keep tabs on what's going on and not just let bad behaviour slip through the cracks. So there's now a version of WallStreetBets on Discord, and multiple members of Discord's own staff are present on the moderator list in addition to others from the community. And I think that's a good indicator of where this drama has come from, in the sense that you have this massive movement, very diverse politically. It doesn't have a concrete political ideology. So alt-right people try and infiltrate it, try and use it, try and join the Discord, talk about all this stuff, because I've been on the WallStreetBets subreddit for a long time, like I said. The most problematic stuff they do is use ableist slurs as part of their meme language, and I think it's not a great look for them. But I've never seen too much of this alt-right stuff that they're talking about. Here are some tweets showing that far-right are supporting the movement. So Alex Kaplan reporting, far-right forum, the Donald announcing that it's created a backup site for the WallStreetBets subreddit. The Donald had previously created backup forums for the Boogaloo and conspiracy subreddits. And then he also says the CEO of Gab, Andrew Torber, also announced in a now deleted post that he created a Gab group for the WallStreetBets subreddit. The group's description mentions that the subreddit's mods want to make accounts here and migrate over. I'll gladly give them mod status here. So there is a far-right company, Gab, and there is a far-right band, old subreddit, which I made a video on, go check that out, about the rise and fall of the Donald, offering to host this stuff because they like it as well. So Newsweek did a good article saying far-right extremists use GameStop chaos to radicalise and recruit on Telegram. David Brennan reporting. So far-right activists and conspiracy theorists on the Telegram messaging service jumped on the chaos as validation of their ideologies and a potential recruiting event disaffected users. Several tied the trading platform's actions to the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and blamed wealthy Jewish people for the decision. One channel affiliating itself with the anti-government Boogaloo movement, whose heavily armed members often stand out at anti-government rallies, was explicit in tying its anti-Semitic conspiracy theories to the GameStop saga. Only Jews can manipulate the markets, not normal citizens. The account, which almost has 10,000 followers, wrote on Thursday. The post set off a discussion in the comments, some users posting more anti-Semitic propaganda, while others condemned the account owner for hate speech. Other posts by the account included a photo of GameStop news coverage with a slur against Jewish people. An account that affiliated itself with the Proud Boys also tied the GameStop news into anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, posting hate speech to more than 40,000 of its followers. So like I said earlier in the video, Wall Street has long been tied to most anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, even in a contradictory way. So for example, in Germany, during the Weimar Republic, you had the Wall Street crash. Due to there being a fair amount of banks that were established by Jewish people, they blamed the Jews for this, and they blamed the Jews for controlling the whole, system, while at the same time talking about Judeo-Bolshevism and talking about how communism was a Jewish conspiracy to take power. Obviously, communism, capitalism, completely at odds with each other. Didn't really matter though, because in the mind of these conspiracy theorists, both are plots by Jews to take power. It doesn't really matter, even though a lot of people in the far right are capitalists themselves. And then you have people like George Soros, who made his fortune to start with on Wall Street. You have, prominent Jewish banking firms, not always run by Jews, but created by Jewish members, like I said. So it helps play into the conspiracy theory that Jews, control global finance. And of course, Jews controlling finance is a stereotype that has gone back probably over 1,000 years, because Christians weren't allowed to charge interest back in the day. But there weren't laws that stopped Jews from doing this, and that's why they were able to run banks like this. And because Jews were often ostracized into ghettos and they weren't allowed to own land and stuff, this is something the Christians allowed them to do a bit more. You can see the racist stereotypes rear their head in popular works, even Shakespeare. The Merchant of Venice is probably a good stereotype of Jews being associated with money and being greedy and everything from back in the day. And then you have crazy conspiracy theories like the Rothschild stuff, which is more contemporary, but it's been going on for decades now. And also you had it during Occupy Wall Street, and you had these types jumping on these movements, trying to steer the conversation to these anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, rather than keep it on message of it being anti-capitalist, anti-billionaire, anti-wealthy and everything like that. It's primarily about the economy, but they always want to steer it in this racist direction. So back in 2011, Jennifer Rubin wrote an article for the Washington Post. Now, Jennifer Rubin is a hack. I don't think she's a good journalist, but all I'm going to do in this is read quotes from the article of people. I'm not going to talk about her opinion in it. At the Occupy Wall Street protest back then, in Los Angeles, California, protester Patricia McAllister, who identified herself as an employee of the LA Unified School District, had this to say: "I think that the Zionist Jews who are running these big banks and our Federal Reserve, which is not run by the federal government, they need to be run out of this country." On the American Nazi Party website, leader Rocky Suhader voiced support for Occupy Wall Street and asked, "Who holds the wealth and power in this country? The Judeo-capitalist. Who is therefore the number one enemy? Who makes this happen? The Judeo-capitalist." Back in New York, another protester insisted that a small ethnic group constitutes almost all the hedge fund managers and bankers on Wall Street. They are all Jewish. There is a conspiracy in this country where Jews control the media, finances. They have pulled their money together in order to take control of America. So you see from the language used by some of those protesters that they do believe in these racist conspiracy theories. But just like the WallStreetBets, GameStop Stock movement at the moment, just like Occupy Wall Street, I believe that characterizing this movement as inspired by these racist conspiracy theories isn't accurate at all. It's more accurate to say that when an anti-Wall Street movement emerges, primarily for more anti-capitalist or anti-corporatist, ideologies, but the far right, who do believe in the Jews controlling global finance, the Jews historically manipulating the economy to create conditions in certain countries to benefit themselves. The Jews who are doing all this to take over power one day, this is what the far right want these movements to start believing. And to them it is fertile ground, because you have people being anti-Wall Street, anti-hedge funds, and then it's easier for them, if maybe they're not politically aware, if they're not aware of these conspiracy theories, maybe if they are right-leaning. I had an interaction with a Trump supporter on that about Gamergate. Someone like him, maybe, target him, send him all these conspiracy theories you find online, send him these videos, send him these articles from racist WordPress blogs, from, the American Nazi Party or whatever, and then you can get more recruits to your side. And I'll leave it on this tweet to end the video. So Anti-Fash Gordon wrote, "Anyone who's not noticing literal Nazis and far-right disinfo grifters like Mike Cernovich rabidly tweeting in support of the GameStop squeeze are dumbasses, and as usual, the original tweet I read at the start is correct. Nazis will try to co-opt any movement that's mostly disaffected white people. It doesn't matter if it's punk rock or furry culture or 4chan or gaming," and I've made videos on nearly all of those, "or the GameStop squeeze. Anytime Nazis see a movement of disaffected, mostly white people, that is not explicitly anti-racist, they come to it like moths to a flame." And that's just an interesting point, that because this movement doesn't have an ideology about most things, maybe it is more easy to infiltrate for these Nazis. I've made videos about furries and bronies and femboys and everything like that, so I have spoke about the disaffected white people thing. Although I'm speculating here, but I don't think that's as much of an issue right here. But WallStreetBets is a subculture on a subreddit, on a social media site that is less popular and less well known. So maybe that does factor in a tiny bit. You have to be on your computer a lot. You have to be in the community. But like I said, I only browsed it. I lurked there sometimes, and I already picked up on all this language they use and everything. So I would say it's not as comparable with furries, bronies, femboys, and all that stuff. But I do take his point that when there's disaffected white people in anything like this, in a movement that doesn't have an inherent anti-racist ideology, then it is fertile ground for alt-right recruitment. Anyway, that is it for the video. To make it clear one last time, like I said, the movement is not driven by fascist conspiracy theories or racism or the alt-right. It is just simply a movement that is right for alt-right recruitment because of the stuff it's dealing with, because it's talking about Wall Street, it's talking about the stock market, it's talking about hedge funds. These play into a lot of fascist conspiracy theories. Therefore, if you get people talking about this stuff, of course, some people will be more susceptible to the messaging. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, I also bought some stock in GameStop, so I'm not saying everyone who's in WallStreetBets and bought the stock is racist. Follow me on social media at the Kavernacle, mainly on Twitter and Instagram. Come join the subreddit, come join the Discord. The links are in the description. Follow me personally on Reddit as well. And support my work on Patreon if you like edgier kinds of content like this. Like I said at the start, none of this gets monetized. I should be making a lot of money this month on YouTube. Couple $1,000 maybe would be nice. I'm not. So your support on Patreon is very much appreciated. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.